Do you know what happens when you spend time outside every single day, no matter the weather or life events, and you do it in Alaska? That's what I'm working to find out. I'm Amy Bouchatz, and this is my weekly outdoor diary where I tell you what I've been seeing and learning through my own daily outdoor habit tackling the Humans Outside 365 challenge. Sometimes it's awesome. Sometimes it's hilarious and full of fails. But it's always my real life. Let's go. Did you know I'm a journalist? I mean, you probably did because I mention it in the beginning of many of the Humans Outside podcast episodes. I've been a journalist for more than 20 years, a number that makes me feel old until I remember that I started working at newspapers at the ripe age of 18. So I'm not that old. People always say journalism has changed a lot since then, but they don't mean the hard work or importance of it. They mean the method and the appreciation. My first job included manually entering the movie times into the newspaper's computer system. I called the movie theater on the phone, wrote down what they said for each movie, and typed it in. That task was obsolete within the year. And speaking of obsolete, the paper, which was a daily at the time, underwent some major changes, and today it's a weekly. Its newsroom became a car dealership. These days, people mix up news with commentary because they haven't had a chance to experience the difference. You're not listening to this to hear about the importance of local news, but I promise I have a point that is why you're here, so hang with me. Newspapers covering local communities like where I live in Alaska and where I first worked in Watsonville, California, close down, and the news they carried vanishes at a rate of about 2 a week, according to some estimates. That matters because people need the facts of what's going on in their community so they can participate and create the kind of place they want to live. The whole idea of democracy in America depends on people participating. But if no one knows the facts about what's going on, they can't really do that well. If you don't participate, stuff changes without your input, and the people in charge don't have any accountability. So that's what I do. I cover local news where I do my absolute best to just report facts. I don't always get it right because I'm just a human, but man, I sure do try. And since my local region lacks a source of news that clearly and consistently writes those facts about what our local governments are up to, I have been working to start something that does. I've dubbed it the Mat-Su Sentinel, and I am its founder, editor, fundraiser, and lone reporter. It's a nonprofit that exists through donations, my hard work, and faith that it's needed and that it's going to work out. Every day is a roller coaster as I've been chasing this startup since last August, with the really hard work starting this winter. I pour myself into it, and then I escape outside where I get to think and move and breathe and dream and be. I am exhausted and exhilarated, inspired and discouraged in turns, sometimes turns that happen moments apart. I guess that's what dream chasing looks like sometimes. I am grateful that heading outside is always there. It's still where I do my best thinking, and prioritizing my time there, just listening to the birds or sitting in the hammock, skiing through the snow, or gathering up my stubborn will to face the weather and do the thing, in spite of it all, keeps me going and reminds me of what's important. I know from practice that success in my inside life depends on faithfully keeping those touchstones in my outside life. I know that an hour outside dreaming and thinking is just as valuable as an hour inside doing the practical work. That's something I've learned because of my outdoor habit. It's something I've learned by making this podcast. I do so love this podcast too. That's how you feel when you've made almost 400 iterations of something over years of work. Each of those episodes was a labor of love and creativity. Each was and is an investment into you and me, and this idea that going outside matters, and that talking about it with people who chase it makes it easier to access for those of us who are just getting a little brave, just learning to stretch ourselves up and out like the trees and leaves from whom we find comfort. As much as I wish I could, I cannot do everything. These snatches of time that I use these days to put together this podcast have seemed more and more unsustainable as my work on the Mat-Su Sentinel grows. What could I be doing with the time it takes to think through the podcast, to record it, to edit it, to produce it, to curate the social media feed? And how else could I be spending the dollars that go into all these tools that keep it running? The more I looked at these questions, the more I realized it's time for me to put this podcast aside, at least for now. And while in a perfect world, I would have a way to do everything I love all at the same time, it's just not reality. Other Humans Outside stuff is staying. I'll still post a photo of my daily outdoor time. If you have a membership to the Humans Outside 365 challenge, that will continue. And you can still listen to old episodes of Humans Outside. There are almost 400 of them wherever you get your podcasts. But for now, I won't have any more new episodes. Where can you find and support my other work? Oh, I'm so glad you asked. You can hear outdoor-related interviews focused on Alaska stuff as part of my new gig as a rotating host at the Alaska Public Media show, Outdoor Explorer, which is available as a podcast. You can read some of my writing in Alaska Magazine or check out the new Lonely Planet guide publishing in June 2024, where you can find the section on the Kenai Peninsula, an essay, and some Alaska history written by me. And of course, you can check out and support the Mat-Su Sentinel. That's especially important if you live here in Mat-Su with me. I'll be publishing news there really soon. But even in the pre-launch phase, I need your donation. You can give a one-time gift at matsusentinel.com/donate, or even better, set up a monthly donation. Think of it as a news subscription. When I start publishing, you'll simply be paying for what you use. While Humans Outside might no longer be publishing new episodes, at least for now, what's going on outside remains constantly new, constantly interesting, and constantly there for you. And you can still see photos of all of my daily outdoor time on Humans Outside on Facebook and Instagram. Please continue to tag me in yours with #HumansOutside365. And until next time, always and forever, we'll see you out there.